Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the first two Summer League games and why you guys should not read too much in the Summer League. We'll also be talking about Ja Morrant saying he would have cooked MJ. Come on, man. And the last, we'll talk about Javon Freeman Liberty getting converted to a camp deal and what that means for the Bulls' two-way player contract. We get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
Man, you can't see that. Don't worry about it.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. What's going on, Bulls fans? Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, or it's your team every day. That is Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central. And before we get started, I got to say this. Pat, we're going to have to do something about your audio situation, brother.
What's wrong?
There's so much mic bleed because you don't wear headphones. Then the mic handling noise from you holding the mic, bro. This is a professional setup here, bro. What are we doing, man?
You can hear me moving the mic right now.
I can hear you moving the mic, and I can hear myself from your recording,
okay.
Bro.
That part I can fix.
We're gonna have to get it together, bro.
That part I can fix. There. How's that sound? Sound better?
Say it again.
You got to say something.
Oh yeah, I guess you're talking about me. Yeah, there you go. See, that's all. That's all me.
That's all me. Listen, I'm normally working alone sometimes.
I know. I feel you. As a solo creator too, bro. There's certain times where I'm doing some stuff with other people, and I'm just like, oh man, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But nonetheless,
I throw headphones on the next one. Don't worry.
The next
first called on air producing right there. Yeah, I'm saying that's on air.
Hey, listen, man. The thing that makes Locked On Bulls different than anything else on the Locked On Podcast Network is we're raw and uncut as much as we can be on a network. And so, listen. That's what you're going to get, man. With that being said, let's get into it, bro. Okay, so we had one good Summer League game, followed up by a not-so-good Summer League game. Now, after Marco's the first game this season in Summer League, people went from saying, hey, why did the Bulls sign a draft Marco if they weren't going to use him to? Actually, there's so many people I read saying Marco is the next one up. And now we'll see what happens after this game. Marco so far laying a goose egg. What do you think about Marco's first Summer League game? What do you think about Justin Lewis, Dalen Terry, Javon Freeman Liberty, players that we expect to stick around here as well in Summer League so far?
So here's the thing. I don't know if y'all can see the sign now a little bit better. No, not really. Don't worry about it. It says Summer League means less than our opinion. And by our, I mean all of Bulls Nation. You know what our opinion does for the Chicago Bulls? Absolutely nothing. Nobody takes our opinion into account because they're going to build the team how they want to build it based on how they feel. Summer League means less than that. It does nothing to tell us how a player will play in the NBA based on Summer League. Ayo Dosunmu had a shaky Summer League.
Derrick Rose had a shaky Summer League.
Derrick Rose had a shaky Summer League. Hey, you want to know who had a great Summer League? Denzel Valentine.
And Tony Snell.
So when I hear people that take Summer League into a serious place, right? A serious, I can't believe that they look like this and this guy is going to be this kind of career and this is going to be. It tells me that you really aren't watching the game. I will say Summer League is more competitive than it's ever been. And based on the first game that we saw, I think that there's some intangibles you can take away that you like, right? I love the fact that Marco Simonovic is 240 now. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Because when you saw him going to the bucket, you could tell he was able to play through the contact. When you saw people driving at him, Marco Simonovic didn't move nearly as much as he used to, right? Now, he did still get dunked on. Hey, shout out to you. He did still get dunked on at the end of that game, but it didn't mean anything, right? Because he made big plays. He made plays that the Bulls could come up with. He made plays to put the Bulls in a position to win. Dalen Terry, I like the court vision. I think that the accuracy isn't 100% there yet. I think that's going to be something he's going to have to improve on, but he does see the play, and that's something that a lot of people can't say, right? He might have a little bit of Jay Cutler in him early on where he feels like every pass that he sees he can make. And so I think that's something that the Bulls have to work on with him. And then, of course, knocking down shots eventually, but I think that's something that'll come with time. And then as far as Justin Lewis probably has the game that I like the most out of everybody, right? Because you can see that no matter what's happening around him, no matter the competition, right? His game kind of stays consistent where it might not be as much of a scoring in year one, as much scoring as he did in college in year one or in the summer league. He didn't have a huge game, but just how he got his points underneath the basket, pump fake, people jumping out their Nikes, one hand jam, understanding how to take people off of the dribble. What he get? He got the pump fake, drive in, spin move, pump, got you going the wrong way, and then fade. Like that's like those are things, right? Those are the intangibles that you're looking for in summer league, and I think those are things that we saw from all three guys in game one. Didn't see it as much in game two, but I like what we're seeing from those guys early on. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. What I look at it is this, right? Is that you look at summer league for what you say. You look at some intangibles. You look at basically trying to get an idea for the skill set, not necessarily the impact that they're going to have. And one thing I will say in Dalen Terry, I just love the way that he's always around the ball. He's always in a good position, right?
Yeah.
Whether on offense or defense. We'll see if the shot comes along. That's going to take some work probably. Marco Simonovic, in the way that he played, it seemed like another level of confidence, which I like. The scoring output was about the same you expect from towards the end of his G League career. So that really didn't surprise me much. But like you said, the way that he absorbed contact a lot more is good. The way that he also blocked, he had 3 blocks in that first game, I think at least 2.
Yeah.
Just the intelligence defensively as well. There's a lot of things looking at that's just it's some key things to take. It doesn't necessarily say what he's going to be able to do on the NBA level, but I will say this is that we already knew he had a great skill set. I mean, you've been probably the only people to talk about it consistently. Marco has a great skill set.
Yeah.
But I trust his ability to maybe put it together a little bit more. He's not going to be a starter or anything, but I do like his chances of coming out there, getting about 10 to 12 minutes a night for the Chicago Bulls possibly.
Do you like Marco in the position, right? I had somebody ask me this in my live call today, which I only did the first half, which is why y'all getting this episode on time today. But do you like Marco with his skill set now possibly being the backup for Patrick Williams, along with an Andre Drummond standing next to him off of your bench? I kind of like that combination of those two. I think, and you're gonna see a little bit of it. I feel like I don't know if we're gonna see a ton of it early on, but I think at some point in the season you'll see a little bit of it. But how do you feel about those two kind of working off of each other down low?
Honestly, I like it this way. I think that we talk about Marco being the backup 4, but I really think that he has the chance to maybe be the backup 4 and 5 and get a lot of minutes to use Drummond a little bit more sparingly if things go the way over the course of the season. Now, initially, yes, he will be playing backup 4. Do I like the idea of him playing next to Drummond? Absolutely. I think Drummond covers up a lot of what Marco lacks on the defensive end of the ball, and Marco could potentially, with his offensive skill set, bring a lot of what Drummond lacks on the offensive end. So as them being the 1-2 punch off the bench as far as bigs for the Chicago Bulls, I love the potential of it. I think that they'll go after and get a lot of rebounds as well. And if Marco's ability to block shots, again, it's one game, right, as far as him getting that number of blocks, but if he shows a little bit better knack for timing on block shots, I like it even more. Now he still may get cooked one-on-one on defense. We'll see what happens with that. But I really do like, and that may be why the Bulls didn't go more aggressively after a 4. Maybe they trusted that Marco was going to be ready to go.
It could be, right? And I think that the interesting thing when I look at it is that if you're going to throw Marco out there, right, you want to have somebody, like you said, that's going to be able to cover his inefficiencies. Andre Drummond kind of does that. The one thing that I will say about Marco's game that I feel like is going to be able to show the most is Marco's ability to stretch the floor, which I think gives Andre Drummond a little more room to even be around the basket, be able to attack the basket, right? And the thing that I want Bulls fans to notice, and I got a video on my page. I think it's hilarious, right? Because it's one of my like higher viewed videos, and it just says, "Is Marco Simonovic Nikola Jokic 2.0?" Which everybody said about Nikola Jokic this season. And when I rewatched the video, I was like, I see why I didn't believe that he was this guy, because you watch his shot and it was like a 3-step process. It was here, and then he would shoot. And now he's smoothed that shot out. Now he's got that, so it's a little bit more of a smooth release. You can definitely tell he's improved his game. I think that his ability to stretch the floor with Andre Drummond, you're also talking about a little bit of pick and roll action in there. You're not just going to be able to sit in the paint and wait for guys to come down. Now he's got to knock down the shots, right? Like Vooch had all the time in the world to knock down shots and couldn't knock down threes for us in the playoffs last year. So you still got to knock the shots down. But I think that gives you a little bit of that stretch dynamic that might even improve Andre Drummond if you've got those two together.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how that works out. I'm really looking forward to how this Bulls bench rotation does work out. But we're going to have to get ready to get into the next segment where we're going to be talking about Ja Morrant says that he would cook MJ. I don't know what he's on, man, but we may all need a little bit of it. But before we get into that, we got to talk about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check on all your favorite sports, events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. All right, Pat. Gotta talk about it, man. I love Ja Morrant, right? I really do. I love Ja Morrant's game. But I'll tell you this, like, there are certain players, and it happens rarely, that every time they talk, I like them less. And one of the things that originally made me start liking Ja Morrant less, I don't know if you heard this or not, but he had an interview in which they were like, he literally refers to himself as Black Jesus.
Yeah.
That turned me off a little bit. But now, he had the nerve to say he would cook Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
It wasn't an interview. Let's not leave people astray.
Yeah, it wasn't.
He had just tipped a lady $500 and made her day. Was it 500 or 5,000? One of them. He gave her a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah. Did you want me to take over? I thought you still had more on that.
You said hold on. I'm holding on. I'm letting you have it.
I was gonna let you finish. I just Kanye'd you a little bit. You know, it's Chicago. The one thing I will say is this, right? Like,
and wait a second. You said it wasn't an interview. It was literally an interview with him and old girl.
Where he said he was Black Jesus?
No, you said the Black Jesus. No, I was saying the interview part was the MJ part. The Black Jesus part was
no. The MJ part was an interview. The MJ part was an interview with Taylor Rooks. I was talking about the Black Jesus part.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I looked at it as that's the most awkward it's ever been on this show. I'm not gonna lie to you. I looked at it as Ja Morant, and when you talk about it, right, like him being confident in himself sometimes comes off as arrogant, but it's interesting when you think about it because he also lets his game do the talking, but people don't pay attention to that part as much as him saying things.
That's always the case with athletes, unfortunately.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's not like Ja Morant's like Pat Beving this, where he says the next 5 years are mine, and then he plays for a Timberwolves team that doesn't make it into the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, so like I'm okay with Pat Bev being confident. Anthony Edwards also says he can play any sport in the world and he'd be great at it. It doesn't matter.
I tend to believe that with Anthony Edwards.
I just feel now. Listen, I don't believe he can beat MJ. Look, and are we breaking this down from a basketball point?
You want to break it? You want to talk X and O's standpoint?
Ja Morant's guarding MJ. What's gonna happen? Where's Ja Morant's best?
Wait. Which era are they playing in? Because that significantly changes it, in my opinion.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Well, I mean, the result's going to be the same, but I'm talking about how MJ cooks Ja Morant's going to change significantly. Because if they're playing in their era, MJ's pushing off. Like Ja Morant's going to be so frustrated because he's going to be like, "Hey, man, do you not see him pushing me?" And MJ's going to be like, "Yeah, I push you. What are you going to do about it?"
Right. First off, you're getting no calls, son.
None. But here's the thing. This is what MJ would toy with Ja Morant. He used Ja Morant's overconfidence against him, right? He maybe even let Ja Morant score the first bucket on MJ, right? And get that confidence, maybe the first two, and then you're not going to score another bucket the rest of the time y'all playing.
Here's the problem with it, right? Ja Morant at times struggled with Pat Beverly trying to get past him, actually making his move. I'm not saying Ja Morant didn't cook Pat Bev. He absolutely did. He destroyed him. But there were times, right, where Ja Morant struggled to get past him, and Pat Beverly's kind of a guard that's Ja Morant's size, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a couple inches bigger, but for the most part, right there in similar size. Attacking downhill, you're not going to be able to get past Michael Jordan. Your first step, also, it depends on which Jordan we're talking about, right? I'll give you the oldest version of Jordan. You might be able to get past him on that, but he's going to tire Ja Morrant out so much on the defensive end of the floor. If Ja Morant's guarding him in this scenario, which wouldn't happen back in the 90s, right? Mike's not going to shoot. Mike's going to play in the post for 48 minutes. Mike's going to back you down, post fade, one dribble, turn around, pull up, and then after you start biting on the pull up, he's going to start pump faking your life away, step through, and one hand jam on your head. Like
that up and under is going to be dangerous, right? That up and under would be like, and then he's going to look back at him while he's dunking and be like, "Hey man, I thought you were going to guard
me." Do we like the confidence though?
Don't get me wrong. I love the confidence of Ja Morrant. Like what Ja Morrant, the confidence in which he plays with, as well as which he talks about himself in, is something that I feel like he's earned to a degree. Like, yeah, is it a little bit overconfident at times? Yeah, but the thing is that if I had to trust Ja Morrant to go out there and prove on the court everything that he talked about, everything that he says, I'm going to trust that he's going to do at least 95% of it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, right, I feel like if Ja plays, I don't think that they beat the Golden State Warriors. I picked the Golden State Warriors to win the NBA championship well before the season started. But if Ja plays, that gets to a game 7. I think that gets to a game 7. I do think Golden State would beat them back in Memphis, but I think that it gets to a game 7 because of his game. And so you have to look at him and really say, like, this is a next level player. And I like that these guys, here's the thing, right? The young guys in this league are taking their respect, where guys before had to earn their respect.
Yeah.
And I get like the intangibles of it. I get the, you're not supposed to come in and say things like that and do things like that. But you have to understand, right? They're trying to carve out a spot for themselves in an NBA where 36-year-old LeBron still looks like a top 3 player in the NBA.
I wouldn't say top 3, but I can't argue that I wouldn't say top 3. But here's the question I want to present to you. As the old guard, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Steph start fading off. As right now, and I look at these 3 players as the players that could potentially be, I don't want to say the face of the league, but the best players in the league at some point. Ja Morrant, Anthony Edwards, and Luka. And some people say that I'm crazy for putting Anthony Edwards up there already. I feel I'm so high on Anthony Edwards, bro. It's ridiculous. Who out of those 3 do you think that we say has the better career, and who has the better chance of being the face of the league?
Are they next? There's nobody in the middle.
I mean,
probably think about it, right? Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, right? Those guys that are 27, 28 already.
I don't look at those guys but here's the reason why. Zach, and maybe it'll develop with Zach and getting more playoff runs, stuff like that.
I'm not saying he's gonna be that. You know what I mean?
Zach is very much somebody who just is going to go about their business and do their thing. Devin Booker, I don't think has the personality either to be the face of the league, just in my opinion. Devin Booker to me is like a wrestler who wrestles real good but sucks at cutting promos. So I think that's gonna limit him from being the face of the league. But I look at Anthony Edwards, right, as being that, having the attitude and everything. Ja Morant is the same thing. Luka could be the first non-black face of the league in quite a while.
I think Luka has a shot at it because Luka doesn't talk as much as the other 2, right? The other 2 will create natural enemies based on the conversations that they bring around them. And by enemies, I mean people that just like dislike them because, he's arrogant, he's confident, right? Luka goes out there, Luka does his job, Luka finishes. Luka might talk trash. He's going to talk mad trash to you on the court in multiple languages. He'll even speak Spanish to you if you need him to.
Much like Kobe Bryant used to. People forget that too.
Facts. Facts. But Kobe used to be trash talking muds in their language.
You know what used to be funny though, when Kobe would talk crap to the refs in a different language and he didn't get text only because they didn't understand what he was saying.
They didn't know what he was saying.
Yeah.
But I think that it's probably going to be Luka that's going to be the number 1 out of all of them. At least right now, because I think that if we're just talking face of the league, right? Because I think the league is going to push that more because of how much the other 2 talk.
I feel that. I think the thing that may also limit Anthony Edwards becoming that is being in Minnesota.
Depends on how much you win, right? Like, if they come out
I mean,
next year with Gobert and Cat and all of them and win, right? Like, Dirk was the best power forward in the NBA for 40 games. and then when when people realize like, oh, that was a one season fluke, he's not the best power forward in the league. Tim Duncan was right back there. So it all depends on the narrative that people push. It all depends on, and I think that's the interesting thing about it. Like, when I talk about the face of the league, right? I think it's more so about how the NBA pushes you. And I think because of how they talk that they won't get. I'm really trying to think of another player that might be in the mix for face of the league. I really can't think of.
I'm
like
sure there's going to be somebody people mention in the
I know
comments.
who
As soon as we read it, we're going to be like, oh yeah, you got to.
He's got to be healthy though, but I know it's going to be Zion.
That's the thing. Zion hasn't done enough to even begin to be in that conversation for me. Not that he doesn't have the skill to be.
Yeah.
He absolutely does. But he like you said, he has to be healthy. And we got to see a playoff run from Zion before.
That's true. But I think Zion's probably the one that is going to be, because Zion kind of just goes about his business. He's more of a, I'm not going to say too much to you, I'm just going to dominate you kind of player. I can't even think of another player right now that's on the come up that could be even pushed in that narrative. So, if Zion can stay healthy, man, I don't know. He's got, hey, look, and he got a team around him.
This is true.
But hey, man, before we get into this final topic where we're going to be talking about Javon Freeman Liberty getting a camp deal and what that means for the Bulls roster moving forward, we got to tell you about rockauto.com. This episode is also brought to you by Rock Auto. And with the ever increase in numbers, makes, and models, it's impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questions like, is your Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person behind the counter click-clacks on the computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry. And you still don't get the part that you wanted, or you get the part mad overpriced. You have access to rockauto.com at home or in your pocket. Why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more on some of the same parts at chain stores or car dealerships when you can go to rockauto.com? They got everything you need: brake parts, tail lamp, motor oil, even new carpet. Go explore their new, easy-to-use website today for all your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com now and see all the parts available for your car and or truck. Right, Locked On in there. How'd you hear about us box so they know that we sent you? Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts you'll ever need at rockauto.com. Dun, 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 dun.
All right. Let's get into the last segment for today. So we got updates. We had talked about, I think, before that who's going to get the deal? Who's going to be the one to get that last two-way deal? We know Malcolm Hill had gotten extended a two-way qualifying offer. Justin Lewis already on it. Javon Freeman Liberty had gotten a two-way deal as well. So it had to come down to somebody. Well, we did get an update. Javon Freeman Liberty's deal has now been converted to a camp deal, which means that he's more than likely going to be on the G League team this season. Still gives him a lot of time to take a look at him, see what happens. But what do you think about Javon Freeman Liberty being converted to a camp deal, and Malcolm Hill in that first summer league game all but ensuring he was going to get that last two-way contract?
Well, I'm not surprised by it, kind of by what I said, right? Because the question that I had was, do the Bulls go with somebody who's already been in the system and experience, even though he's a little bit older, over the young guy there, right? And I think we said Malcolm Hill is 29. Malcolm Hill is like 26, going on 27.
I really thought that man was older than that, but he's still old for a second-year player.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was much older. But the thing about Malcolm Hill is, right, Malcolm Hill's a solid guard that can come in, get the job done for you as a backup to the backup if you are having injury issues, right? We saw Malcolm Hill play some solid games, and he already understands Billy's system. I'm not surprised that Freeman Liberty doesn't get the deal. Because to me, right, and it doesn't mean that he won't end up on the Windy City Bulls. He won't have an opportunity to play for the Bulls at some point. But it doesn't surprise me, because when you're looking at guys who are at similar points there, the one that's been in the NBA a little bit longer is going to have more experience, going to be able to play a little bit quicker tempo because he's got a little bit more confidence being in that system already. And I think that's really what it came down to. And even in this last game versus the Knicks, right, where the Bulls end up getting smoked, you kind of saw that, right? Like, they were playing against a bunch of guys who've already been in the NBA. or at least had stints in the NBA, or at least have been in summer league for multiple seasons, or at least have been spent time in the G League, right? So it's a different world when you're kind of coming into that and just playing against players who already, or just looking at players who already have experience versus players who it's their first time going up against NBA talent in a game that matters. I'm doing air quotes for the podcast listeners. Matters. Because it's just a different level of comprehension that takes place and how quickly you're able to make decisions. And so I think it doesn't surprise me that Freeman Liberty didn't get that deal, just because if the Bulls do go through injury issues, right, they're probably not going to want to rely on a first year point guard to come in and be their only option at that backup option.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And shout out to Dotson, who had a heck of a playoff game over there as well.
He did. Shout out to Devon Dotson. I had a bunch of people tweet me that video too of him like cashing out the buzzer beater in the third quarter, and I was like, okay, Dotson, shout out to you, brother.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Before we go, there is something else that I want to bring up to you, Pat, and ask you. So there's been a lot of talk, of course, surrounding Marco. Been a lot of talk about, Dalen Terry, which makes sense. The guy who hasn't getting talked about as much in Bull circles is Justin Lewis. What do you feel about Justin Lewis? Do you think he's going to have the chance to crack the rotation this year? Do you think it's only going to be V if it comes through injury? What do you see from him? Because I'll start this off. What I saw from him is a level of poise that Dalen Terry or Marco didn't necessarily show. Now, he didn't have the big numbers or anything, but I look at Justin Lewis as being a player that I may even see being called to do some things early in, because it seems like he just gets it, right? That he just knows how to operate within a system and to get rid of the ball when he needs to get rid of it. But what do you think about Justin Lewis?
I think you got to get a Thibs sound on your soundboard. Maybe I'll get one. I'm getting a new soundboard anyway, so maybe I'll get one. Add a Thibs soundboard to your soundboard. Remember when he like yelled out, "Do your job"? You know what I mean? Like that's what I see when I see Justin Terry, right? Like, I'm sorry, Justin Lewis. He's I know what I'm good at, and I'm going to find my spots to use it kind of player. I don't know if he'll crack the rotation year one, but I can't say that it's a guarantee that he won't, right? Because the biggest thing that the Bulls needed last season was health, size, which they got in Andre Drummond, rebounding, and spot-up shooting. Justin Lewis is a pretty good rebounder. And he's a really good spot-up shooter. I think he hasn't shown it as much here in Summer League, right? Because the focus has been more on Dalen Terry and the focus has been on Marco Simonovic. But he was a really good spot-up shooter in college. And so that's a skill set that if the Bulls are in need and they're going through a run, it's about how you find your way on a court, right? I think Dalen Terry's ball movement and stuff like that, it looks great. That's not going to be the way he finds his way on the court. I've got Ayo Dosunmu and Lonzo Ball if healthy. So it's about finding that thing that's going to get you on the court and get you in a rotation. Justin Lewis might be able to find it if Kobe White doesn't progress and isn't knocking down shots the way we thought. If Goran Dragic is an old man and he just can't go 82 games like we hope he can. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's kind of where he'll be able to find his sweet spot in our rotation.
That makes sense. And I agree with that. I think he may get, God forbid, right? Let's all health be damned. But like, if there is an injury, I do see them, calling him up and him maybe not excelling, right? Not doing anything too crazy, but being able to call him up in the case of an injury and rely on him to give you a couple of minutes and do the correct things when you're out there. He does understand his job. He understands his role, and he goes about his business very methodically. And that's what I like about Justin Lewis.
And the thing that I want people to understand is, right, I don't want Dalen Terry and Justin Lewis to be able to crack the rotation. I want Patrick Williams to play well. I want Zach LaVine to be healthy. I want Lonzo Ball to be healthy. I didn't want Ayo Dosunmu to crack the rotation. I wanted Kobe White to figure out how to be a point guard. Now he's more of a two guard. Guess what? I don't want
point guard days are off.
I don't want Dalen Terry to take Kobe White's spot. I want Kobe White to be an excellent shooting guard off of the bench. I want our main guys to be good enough that a rookie can't come in his first year and take your job. You see anybody going to the rookie? I mean, like, the Warriors is an anomaly. Like, your best teams usually don't have a rookie come in and he's the focal point of your bench piece.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls had that last season. While potential is fun, I want proven to keep proving it. I want Zach LaVine to be 27, 5 and 5. I want DeMar DeRozan to be 25. DeMar wasn't giving you a ton of assists. He was shooting that thing. You know what I'm saying? But like, I want our guys that are good to continue to be good. And I think that's the part where Bulls fans kind of lose it, right? Because they're like, man, Dalen Terry should be able to come in and give us a ton in this. No. I want Dalen Terry to be a bench piece that we need sometimes. Because if he's a bench piece that we need sometimes, that means Caruso's healthy, Ayo's healthy, Kobe's healthy, Drummond's healthy. I mean? Like,
but him being that may not, like, he could very well, DeMar averaged almost 5 assists per game, brother. He was 30th in the whole NBA.
Shout out to DeMar, brother.
Yeah, shout out to DeMar for passing that ball, even though why he was scoring that thing too.
We know how he was passing that mug. That was mid-shot, like, oh, there he is.
But I don't mind the idea of Dalen Terry or Justin Lewis cracking the rotation. But like you said, I don't want it to come via injury. I wanted it to come because these guys have shined so much that it's like, we got to play him, right? That's how it started with Ayo. Ayo showed so much defensively to start the season that they had to play him because he upped the level of play so much on the defensive side of the ball.
But it's also because the player that was ahead of him was so poor at his job, he could take his job.
Who?
Kobe was our backup point guard.
Kobe was out but he was out when Ayo started earning his minutes.
And Caruso was our backup point guard then.
Yeah, but Ayo was still getting on the court because he showed defensively and they didn't have Kobe. So like at that point, like I think that what Ayo showed in in practice.
Remember when Kobe came back, we were all like, why the heck did Ayo lose all his minutes? I was playing like 6-7 minutes a game.
No, he wasn't, bro. Go back and look. When Kobe came back, Kobe was getting 20 minutes a game, but Ayo was still getting his minutes. Ayo was never getting a lot of minutes early in the season. Like he was getting those 10 or 12 minutes. And then also we were dealing with injury too. So like I don't remember at least any time where Ayo's minutes got cut because of Kobe.
When I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, but I definitely thought some of those games when Kobe finally came back, where we were like, "Yo, Ayo just don't play no more." Like he don't get tickets.
So I'm going into, for example, October start of the season, he 21 minutes in the first game, 9 minutes, 11, 2 and 11. Now that was still all before Kobe came back.
Yeah.
But then by the time Kobe came back, Ayo was getting 18, 17, 24, 20, 23, 17, 21, 19, 16, 19 minutes per game.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that was mainly because of injury. I'm sure at that point either COVID or injury had popped in at that point of the season. But I mean, listen, I don't want anything to come via injury. I hope we're not talking another COVID and injury season for the Chicago Bulls. I want to talk about players that get increased roles because they're just that damn good on the court.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I would love it, right? And listen, I'm always for a superstar stepping up, but I'm the type of person that I want the players that we have to pan out. I want the players that are here to pan out. If Dalen Terry takes somebody's job, Dalen Terry took your job. I'm sorry, like it's a dog-eat-dog world out there in the NBA, and we've seen jobs get replaced with a quickness mid-season. Somebody was a 38-minute player a game, and then you'd be like, "Dang, bro, he don't play no more." Like, nah, bro, he got benched, bro. That man was putting up a negative 45 on the. So like, I get it, but like. You know, for me, right, if Justin Lewis cracks the rotation, it means Marco's not good. If Dalen Terry's cracking the rotation, right? I mean, you've got Ayo Dosunmu and Alex Caruso, if you really want to play that at point, behind Lonzo Ball, depending on where you want to play Caruso. If Dalen Terry's cracking your rotation, right, like somebody's either hurt or somebody's not playing the way that we thought they were playing. And it's probably going to be Ayo not playing at the level that he was playing his first season. So I think that's kind of the thing where I look at it and I'm like, I just kind of hope that the guys we have here are good because we paid a lot of money for these dudes. Yeah. And we about to pay a lot of money for Ayo Dosunmu if he ends up playing well again.
Yeah, there's a high probability of that, bro. But hey, everybody get their money. As long as it's earned, I don't care what we pay them. As long as it's earned. That's all that matters to me. Exactly. I'm not.
It ain't my money. I ain't got 215 for you, Zach.
They ain't coming to take it out of my locked on check, so I'm good.
That would be wild, wouldn't it? Like, hey,
listen.
man, we can only pay Zach LaVine if them locked on numbers is up, brother.
Yeah.
We
Listen,
want you. We want CHGO. We want Bulls Talk. Y'all all got to pool it together to get Zach LaVine to stay in Chicago.
Listen, they ain't got nothing to do with me, brother. Nothing to do with me at all. We're not even finna play those
we
games.
need you from to give me the hot sauce. We need some bread on that.
But man, hey, if you got nothing else, man, go and give it to him. Let's get up out of here, bro.
Hey, man, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Y'all already know I got the content coming for you. And then follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man.
Absolutely. You can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO Haize. You can also follow us collectively at, well, I already said that. You said that. At Locked On Bulls. You make sure you guys do that. He said it already. He said it. Listen.
Haize don't be listening to me, man.
Listen, man, I do. I went into autopilot, man. Sue me, brother. Yeah, sue me, man. But nonetheless, that's it for us for today, man. Thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where the Locked On experts break down all the latest news and everything rumors going on around the NBA in 30 minutes or less every single day. You can get them wherever you get your podcast. But for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls, and we out today. Peace out.